The emergency meeting of the Galaxy Council looked nothing like the proud assembly that had insulted humans. 2 years ago, half the seats were empty. Many species had withdrawn from the council to deal with their own collapsing civilizations. The remaining delegates looked scared, desperate, and broken. Ambassador Han Yunwu walked into the same chamber where he had been called a warmonger and dismissed as primitive, but now instead of contempt, the alien faces showed fear instead of arrogance. They showed desperation instead of mockery. They showed something new: respect. Captain Soyoung walked beside him carrying new documents. These were not records of insults and broken promises. These were offers, desperate offers from species that finally understood what they had lost when they drove away humanity. The Vorthan delegate who had once laughed at human intelligence now spoke with a trembling voice in all 4 arms. Ambassador Haianwu, he said, the Void Hunters have destroyed star systems. Our military cannot stop them. We have studied every successful battle against the Void Hunters in the past century. Every single victory involved human strategy, human weapons, or human leadership. The crystal being who had called humans primitive warmongers was now admitting that humans were essential to galactic military success. The irony was so thick it could be cut with a knife. The Thessian ambassador rose from her coiled position. Her scales had lost their shine from stress and exhaustion. Our medical facilities have failed completely, she said. The plague spreads faster than we can treat it. We have lost 14 worlds entirely. Billions are dead. Our own doctors cannot understand the techniques we need. Only human medical knowledge can save our people. Plain Wu listened as delegate after delegate confessed their species' dependence on human innovation. The Malori could not feed their people without human farming methods. The Zephyrian cities were crashing from the sky without human anti-gravity technology. The Galaxians were losing their homeworld because their defenses used human engineering. The Aquarian Council President spoke last. Her voice bubbled with emotion as she made the most desperate plea of all. We have been wrong, she said. We have been blind to human contributions. We thought our civilization was strong, but it was built on human knowledge, human skill, human cooperation. She paused as explosions could be heard through the chamber walls. The Void Hunters were getting closer to the council capital. Every day we are offering humanity full leadership of a new galactic government, she continued. Complete military command, territorial expansion to 100 star systems, shared control of all technology and resources. Please help. Wu Shanwu looked around the chamber at the faces of beings who had once treated him like dirt. They had stolen human inventions and claimed credit. They had rejected human friendship and offered insults. They had voted to cage humanity in 12-star systems. Now they were offering humans control of hundreds of systems. You paint a desperate picture, he said finally, but I remember sitting in this same chair 2 years ago. I remember being told that humans contribute nothing to galactic civilization except violence and chaos. I remember being called primitive warmongers who should be grateful for your tolerance. The chamber fell completely silent. Even the sound of distant explosions seemed too faint. Captain Soyoung stepped forward. Her voice was clear and strong as she addressed the assembly. You called us barbarians, she said. You voted to restrict us. You stole our technology. You dismissed our friendship. You treated us like dangerous animals that should be kept in cages. She pulled out her old folder, the one filled with documented insults and discrimination. For 3 years, Ambassador Haianwu sat in this chamber offering cooperation. You rejected every proposal. You mocked every gesture of friendship. You laughed at our attempts to help. The aliens listened in shame. Many looked at the floor, unable to meet human eyes. They were remembering their own words, their own votes, their own laughter at human expense. Now you come to us begging for help, Soyoung continued. Now you offer us everything you once refused to give. Now you admit you need the warmongers. You Espestion Wu raised his hand, and Soyoung stepped back. The question now is simple, he said. What makes you think we want to help you? What makes you think we care if your civilization survives? The Vorthan delegate who had called humans primitive now spoke with desperation. Because you are better than us, he said. Because humans care about justice and fairness. Because even after everything we did to you, you still might choose to help. Other delegates quickly agreed. They spoke of human compassion, human mercy, human nobility. The same species they had called barbaric they now praised as moral and good. The same humans they had dismissed as unworthy they now called their only hope. Yunwu listened to every plea, every offer, every desperate promise. Finally he spoke. 2 years ago these offers might have been enough, he said, but humanity has learned much. During our isolation we learned that we do not need Galaxy Council approval to prosper. We learned that our technology is not just valuable but essential. We learned that galactic civilization depends on human knowledge and human leadership. Delegates held their breath waiting for his answer. Most importantly, we learned that respect cannot be demanded, it must be earned. You did not earn our respect. You lost it through your own actions. The council president spoke in a whisper. What are your terms for helping us? Yunwu smiled the same smile he had shown when walking out of this chamber 2 years ago. Our terms are simple. Complete dissolution of the Galaxy Council, formation of a new government with human leadership, equal representation for all species but with humans holding final authority over military and technological decisions. The chamber erupted in shocked voices. The council president could barely speak. Those terms would end the Galaxy Council completely. They would make humans the dominant power in the galaxy. Exactly, Haianwu said. The Galaxy Council has proven itself incapable of effective leadership. You created a system that allowed prejudice and discrimination to flourish. You built a government that rewarded selfishness and punished cooperation. He stood up, preparing to leave. Again, you have 3 days to decide. Accept our terms and receive human help. Continue with your failed system and face the void. Hunters alone, but Ambassador, the Deshan delegate, called out, "What if we refuse? What if we try to fight alone? Then you will lose," Hyan Wu said simply. "The Void Hunters will destroy your worlds, enslave your people, and turn your children into machines, and humanity will watch from our corner of space." Learning from your mistakes, the Aquarian president made one last desperate plea. "Please," she said, "there must be another way. We can negotiate, we can find a compromise." Hyan Wu paused at the chamber door. "There is no other way," he said. "For 50 years, humans have been the foundation of galactic civilization. You never noticed because you did not want to see. Now that foundation has been removed and everything is collapsing. You called us warmongers, but we kept the peace. You called us primitive, but we provided the technology that runs your worlds. You called us unworthy, but we were willing to sacrifice for the common good." He looked around the chamber one final time. "Now you have a choice. Accept human leadership and rebuild the galaxy properly, or cling to your pride and watch everything burn." As Hyan Wu walked out of the chamber, the delegates sat in stunned silence. The species that had once dismissed humanity as junior partners were now being offered the choice between human leadership or complete destruction. The Galaxy Council that had been so proud, so certain of their superiority, was learning the hardest lesson of all. Sometimes the people you look down on are actually the ones holding everything together, and when they walk away, everything falls apart. The 3-day deadline was ticking, and the Void Hunters were still advancing. The galaxy would soon learn whether pride was more important than survival. 3 months after the Galaxy Council accepted human terms, Admiral Jamin stood on the command bridge of the UG's Harmony, the flagship of the new United Galactic Federation. Through the massive windows, he could see the combined fleets of 50 species, all following human tactical commands as they prepared for the final battle against the Void Hunters. "Fleet status report," he called out. "Till ships ready." Admiral Captain Minho replied from the Fleet Coordination Station. "Human tactical computers are installed on every vessel. Mallory medical ships are standing by with human-trained doctors. Vorthon engineering ships have human technical advisors. Deshan science vessels are using human research methods." The transformation had been remarkable. The same aliens who had rejected human friendship were now eager students, learning human methods, copying human techniques, following human leadership without the pride and prejudice that had poisoned the old Galaxy Council. The new Federation worked like a perfect machine. "Sir, we are receiving the final transmission from the Void Hunter command ship," Lieutenant Eugen reported. "They are requesting surrender terms. Tell them the terms are complete withdrawal from all Federation space and return of all captured populations," Admiral Jamin replied, "and make sure they understand these terms come from the United Galactic Federation under human command." The battle that followed was swift and decisive. Human tactics combined with the resources of 52 species proved unstoppable. The Void Hunters, who had seemed invincible just months before, were systematically defeated and driven back to the galactic rim. On Earth, Director Jahoon watched the victory reports with quiet satisfaction. The transformation of galactic civilization had exceeded his wildest expectations. Species that had been enemies for centuries were now working together under human guidance. "The cooperation has been incredible," Colonel Yunji observed. "Former Galaxy Council species are adapting to human leadership faster than we predicted. They seem genuinely grateful for the change." "Fear is a powerful teacher," Jihoon replied. "They learned that dismissing humanity nearly cost them everything. Now they understand that human strength comes not from violence but from our ability to unite different peoples toward common goals." "It is ironic," Yongji continued. "They called us warmongers, but human leadership brought peace to the galaxy. They called us primitive, but human methods saved their civilization. They called us unworthy, but now they beg to follow our guidance." Reports continued to arrive, painting a picture of galactic transformation under human leadership. The new United Galactic Federation was expanding rapidly as more species requested membership. The requirements were simple: acceptance of human authority, respect for all member species, and commitment to cooperative development. Unlike the old Galaxy Council, which had been dominated by a few powerful species, the new Federation treated all members fairly. Small species had the same rights as large ones. Poor worlds received the same help as rich ones. Every member contributed according to their abilities and received according to their needs. Human colonies were expanding at an unprecedented rate, no longer restricted to 12-star systems. Humanity was establishing settlements throughout the galaxy. But unlike the old imperial powers, humans did not conquer. They invited, they welcomed, they included. The Vorthan mining worlds that had been abandoned were now thriving again under human engineering guidance. The Thessian medical crisis had been completely solved using human techniques. The Aquarian trade routes were safer and more profitable than ever before, using human navigation systems. "What is most remarkable," Jihoon said, "is how quickly former enemies became allies when the Galaxy Council removed human influence. Species fought each other constantly. Now, under human coordination, they worked together seamlessly." The former Galaxy Council president now served as Deputy Administrator of Federation External Relations. She had personally thanked Jehun for what she called humanity's greatest gift to the galaxy, the gift of unity. We never understood, the Aquarian had said. We thought strength came from dominance. But you showed us that real strength comes from cooperation. You taught us that a civilization is only as strong as its weakest member. The transformation extended beyond politics and military affairs. Human cultural influence was spreading throughout the galaxy. Alien children were learning human languages, studying human philosophy, listening to human music. The concepts of equality, justice and cooperation that humans took for granted were revolutionary to many species. Sir, what are our long-term plans for the Federation? Youngji asked. Continued expansion and development, Jihun replied. There are still hundreds of species in the galaxy that have never heard of the Federation. Many are struggling with the same problems the Galaxy Council species faced. Disease, poverty, war, ignorance. We will reach out to them, offer them membership, show them a better way. The Federation is not just about human leadership, it is about human values spreading throughout the galaxy. The irony of the situation was not lost on anyone. The Galaxy Council had tried to cage humanity in 12 star systems. Now humanity was actively expanding. 2000s of systems the Council had called humans unworthy of membership. Now humans led the largest interstellar government in galactic history. The species that had once mocked human intelligence were now studying at human universities. The beings that had stolen human technology were now paying humans to teach them proper techniques. The delegates that had called humans warmongers were now praising human peacekeeping efforts. Ambassador Hyenwu now served as Federation President. Visited the old Galaxy Council chamber one final time. The room had been converted into a museum dedicated to the failures of discriminatory government. The exhibits showed how prejudice and arrogance had nearly destroyed galactic civilization. Where he had once been insulted and dismissed, Hyenwu reflected on the journey that had brought them here. The retreat from the peace talks had been the most successful diplomatic strategy in human history. By walking away, humans had forced the galaxy to confront its dependence on human innovation. A group of young beings from various species toured the museum. Their guide explained how the old Galaxy Council had treated humans, how humans had withdrawn their support, and how the galaxy had nearly collapsed as a result. The young aliens listened in amazement. One small Mallory asked, "Why did the old leaders treat humans so badly?" The guide, a former Galaxy Council delegate, replied, "Because we were afraid of human success. We were jealous of human achievements. We thought that putting humans down would make us seem more important." What happened to those leaders? The young Mallory asked. "They learned better." The guide said. "They learned that cooperation is stronger than competition. They learned that respect must be earned, not demanded. They learned that true leaders lift others up instead of putting them down." As the tour group moved on, Hyenwu smiled. The children of the galaxy were learning the lessons their parents had learned. Too late, they were growing up in a universe where cooperation was valued over domination, where different species worked together instead of fighting, where human ideals of justice and equality were considered normal. The galaxy that had once called humans primitive warmongers now looked to humanity for moral guidance. The species that had dismissed human contributions now credited humans with saving galactic civilization. The beings that had tried to cage humanity now followed human leadership. To the stars, it had taken a crisis to make them see the truth, but now the galaxy understood. Humans were not just another species to be tolerated or dismissed. They were the bridge builders, the peacemakers, the ones who could take diverse civilizations and forge them into something greater than the sum of their parts. The retreat from the peace talks had taught the galaxy its most important lesson. Sometimes walking away from a bad situation is the first step toward building something better, and sometimes the people others look down on are actually the ones with the vision to lead everyone toward a brighter future. The United Galactic Federation continued to grow stronger each day under human guidance, proving that the galaxy's greatest mistake had been underestimating the species they had called primitive warmongers. Those warmongers had become the galaxy's greatest hope for lasting peace. 1 year had passed since humans disappeared from galactic society. Fleet Admiral Jamin sat in his command center on Earth reading reports from human spy ships that still watched the galaxy from far away. The news was worse than anyone had expected, and Chief Sujin entered his office carrying a thick folder of reports. Her face was serious as she placed the folder on his desk. "Sir, the situation in Galaxy Council space is getting very bad," she said. "How bad?" Jamin asked, opening the folder. "The plague has now spread to 28 star systems," Sujin reported. "Their medical centers cannot handle the crisis. Entire planets are being evacuated. Some worlds have been completely abandoned. The death count is in the billions." Now Jamin shook his head. The Veshans had some of the best doctors in the galaxy before the plague started, but their medicine was based on human research and human techniques. Without human help, they were like children trying to perform surgery. "What about the Vorthans?" he asked. "The mining consortium is completely destroyed. 63 mining worlds have been abandoned. The atmosphere machines failed, and they had no way to fix them. The Vorthans are now buying air from other species at huge costs there. The economy has collapsed." Jimin remembered the proud Vorthan delegate with his forearms waving as he called humans primitive. Now the crystal beings were begging for basic life support technology. "The Aquarian situation is even worse," Sujin continued. They have lost over 200 ships in hyperspace accidents. Their trade empires finished. Most of their colonies cannot get supplies anymore. Some Aquarian worlds are experiencing famine and the military situation. Jamin asked, that is the worst. News of all the Void Hunters have attacked 47 systems in the past 3 months. The Galaxy Council military forces cannot stop them. The Void Hunters were the nightmare of every civilized species. They were machines that had once been living beings but had replaced their bodies with technology. They traveled from system to system, destroying everything and turning the survivors into more machines like themselves. For 50 years, the Galaxy Council had kept the Void Hunters contained. In the outer rim of the galaxy, human tactics, human weapons and human coordination had been the key to every victory against them. Now the humans were gone. How bad are the losses? Jamin asked. Catastrophic. Sujin said. The Centauran military lost an entire fleet last week. Their human-designed weapons stopped working properly months ago. They tried to fix them, but they do not understand the technology. The Caraxian defense forces are down to 30% strength. The Galaxy Council is trying to fight the Void Hunters with broken weapons, outdated tactics and no coordination. Jamin said. It is like sending children to fight dragons. Sir, we are receiving emergency transmissions from Galaxy Council headquarters. Sujin said. They are marked Priority Alpha. Priority Alpha meant the entire galaxy was in danger. Jamin had only seen that classification used twice in his career. Put it through, he said. The holographic display activated, showing the council president, the proud Aquarian leader, now looked desperate. Her usual calm had been replaced by obvious fear. Admiral Jamin, she said, I am transmitting under emergency war protocols. The Void Hunters have broken through all our defense lines. They are advancing on core worlds. We estimate they will reach the Galaxy Council capital in 6 months. The transmission flickered as explosions could be heard in the background. Our combined fleets cannot stop them. Every battle we lose more ships than we destroy. We need human assistance, Admiral. We need it now. The transmission ended, leaving Jamin staring at the empty projector. The Galaxy Council that had dismissed humans as warmongers was now begging those same warmongers to save them. What is the status of our own development, Jamin asked. Excellent, Sir. Sujin replied. Without supporting alien civilizations, we have made incredible progress. Our shipyards are producing vessels 3 times faster than before. Our colonies are expanding ahead of schedule. Our research programs are advancing rapidly. For decades, humans had shared their knowledge freely with the galaxy. They had given away medical cures that took years to develop. They had shared technologies that could have made humans rich. They had trained alien engineers and doctors and scientists. All of that knowledge and effort had been used to help other species, while humans got nothing but insults in return. Now, for the first time in generations, human resources were being used only for human benefit. The new Beijing colony is completely self-sufficient now. Sujin continued. The new Tokyo research station has made breakthrough discoveries in faster-than-light travel. Our military strength has increased by 40%. How many requests for help have we received this month? Jamin asked. Over 8,000, sir. Every major species has contacted us directly. The offers are getting more desperate. The Vorthans are offering us 10 star systems. The Aquarians want to give us control of their main trade routes. The Malori are offering their entire agricultural database. What about the Galaxy Council itself? 12 formal requests for negotiation. Each offer is bigger than the last. The latest message offered humanity 50 star systems, full council membership and command of all military operations against the Void Hunters. Jamin laughed. It was not a happy sound. After calling us primitive barbarians, they want to make us their military leaders. After trying to cage us in 12 systems, they offer us 50 after rejecting every human proposal for 3 years. They want to negotiate, sir. There is something else. Sujin said. The council president has requested a personal meeting with you. She is willing to come to Earth alone. The leader of the Galaxy Council wanted to visit Earth alone. That showed how desperate she had become for a council president to leave the capital during a crisis and travel to human space was unprecedented. What should I tell her? Sujin asked. Tell her that Admiral Jamin is busy. Jamin said. Tell her that human leadership is focused on human concerns. Tell her that we are not interested in helping people who called us warmongers and tried to imprison us. But sir, the Void Hunters are a threat to everyone, including humans. If they destroy the Galaxy Council, they will eventually attack human space. Jamin stood up and walked to the window that showed Earth below. The blue planet looked peaceful and beautiful. Human cities glowed with prosperity. Human ships moved in orderly patterns overhead. Everything was running smoothly. You are right, the Void Hunters will eventually threaten us, he said. But right now they are busy with the Galaxy Council species, the same species that treated us like garbage. For decades, the same species that stole our technology and gave us no credit, the same species that voted to restrict us to 12-star systems. So what do we do? So we continue to develop our own strength, Jamin said. We build more ships, we train more soldiers, we research better weapons. When the Void Hunters finally come for us, we will be ready. And we will face them as humans, not as junior partners and someone else. Military. The Galaxy Council made their choice when they decided humans were not worthy of respect. Now they can live with the consequences of that choice. We offered them friendship and cooperation. They chose insults and discrimination. Admiral Jamin walked back to his desk and picked up another report. This one showed human population growth, human economic expansion, human technological advancement. All the numbers were better than they had been in decades. For the first time in human history, we are using our full potential for our own benefit, he said. The results to speak for themselves. We are stronger now than we have ever been, sir. What if the Galaxy Council falls completely? What if the Void Hunters destroy everything then? We will be the only major civilization left in the galaxy, Jamin said, and maybe that is what the galaxy needs, a fresh start, with people who understand the value of cooperation and respect. The irony was perfect. The Galaxy Council had called humans warmongers, but it was human military skill that had kept the peace. The Council had called humans primitive, but it was human technology that kept their civilization running. The Council had called humans unworthy, but now they were begging for human leadership. As more reports arrived, it became clear that the galaxy was learning a hard lesson. The species they had dismissed as barbaric were actually the foundation that held everything together. Without humans, the great galactic civilization was crumbling like a house built on sand, and the humans were watching it all happen, from their corner of space, growing stronger every day. 6 months had passed since Ambassador Hyan Wu walked out of the Galaxy Council chamber. Captain Minho stood on the bridge of his cargo ship watching his alien vessels desperately try to contact him. His ship was called the Perseverance, and it was carrying medical supplies back to human space. The view screen showed a Veshan cruiser moving closer. Its snake-like design moved through space like a real snake swimming through water. The same species that had called humans dangerous was now begging for help. Sir, the alien ship is sending another message, Lieutenant Eugen said from her station. Her fingers moved quickly over the controls as more messages came in. They say they need our medical supplies right away. They say thousands of people are dying on their home world. Minho looked at the orders on his screen. Protocol 7 was very clear. No help, no trade, no friendship. Nothing except basic safety warnings to prevent accidents in space. The orders came directly from Earth and could not be changed. Tell them we cannot help, Minho said. His voice was steady, but inside he felt bad. The Decians were suffering from a terrible disease that was spreading fast. Human medicine could cure it easily, but the orders were orders. But Captain Eugen said they are saying their children are dying. The disease is killing everyone it touches. Their own doctors cannot stop it. Minho remembered what the Decian ambassador had said in the Galaxy Council chamber. She had called humans a disease upon the galaxy. She had said humans should be removed from civilized space. Now her people had a real disease and wanted help from the humans they had insulted. Direct them to ask other Galaxy Council members for help. Minho said, we are not part of their council anymore. We have no duty to help them. Lieutenant Eugen sent the message. The Decian ship stayed near them for almost an hour, sending more and more desperate messages. Each message told of more death, more suffering, more panic on their world. But the human ship continued on its path back to human space. The same thing was happening all across the galaxy. Human ships were everywhere because humans had been helping everyone for so many years. Human cargo ships carried food to hungry worlds. Human medical ships brought healing to sick planets. Human repair ships fixed broken stations and cities. All of it stopped overnight in the mining world of Vorthos Prime. The atmosphere machines were failing. The machines that made the air breathable had been designed by humans. The Vorthon miners had been using them for 20 years, but they never learned how to fix them. When the machines started breaking down, they called for human engineers. No human engineers came. The Vorthon mining boss sent message after message to human companies. The messages got more desperate each day. The air in the mines was getting bad. Workers were getting sick, some were dying. The mining boss offered more and more money, but no humans answered. We will pay double the usual rate. The mining boss sent, we will pay triple. We will give you mining rights to 3 asteroids. Please send engineers before we all die. But human companies had new orders. They were not allowed to work with Galaxy Council species. The Vorthons, who had called humans primitive, were now learning just how advanced human technology really was in space. The Aquarian trade ships were getting lost, the navigation beacons that guided ships safely through hyperspace. It had been built by humans. The beacons needed constant maintenance and updates. Only human technicians knew how to do this work. Aquarian Captain Reef Walker watched his navigation systems fail one by one. His ship was carrying food to 5 different worlds. If he got lost in hyperspace, the food would spoil and people would starve. He tried to fix the beacon himself, but the technology was too complex. And a message to the human navigation guild. He told his crew, tell them we will pay any price for emergency repairs. The message came back quickly. The Human Navigation Guild is no longer accepting contracts with Galaxy Council species. Please contact other guild members for assistance. But there were no other guild members. Only humans knew how to build and fix the navigation beacons. The Aquarians had always assumed the technology was simple. Now they were learning how wrong they had been. Captain Reef Walker tried 17 different hyperspace jumps before he finally reached his destination. Half his food cargo was spoiled. 3 worlds went hungry that month. And Earth Director Jae-hoon sat in his office reading reports from across human space. Every human ship, every human company, every human organization had followed Protocol 7 perfectly. The withdrawal was complete. Colonel Yuan-chi entered his office, carrying a tablet full of new messages. Sir, she said, The alien messages are getting more desperate. We have received over 3,000 requests for help in the past week. What kinds of requests? Ji-hoon asked. Everything, Yoonji said. Medical help, engineering support, navigation assistance, food shipments. The Melori cannot grow enough food without our farming techniques. The Zephyrians' floating cities are falling from the sky without our anti-gravity repairs. The Galaxians are being attacked by pirates because their defense systems use our weapons. Ji-hoon nodded. He had expected this for decades. Humans had been quietly supporting galactic civilization with their technology and knowledge. Most aliens had not noticed. They thought their own species had invented everything they used. They were wrong. How many species have contacted us directly? Youngji asked. Sked 57. So far, Ji-hoon said. More every day. They are offering money, trading rights, territory. Some are even offering apologies. What are your orders, sir? The same as before. Ji-hoon said. No help, no cooperation, no exceptions. We are taking care of our own people now. Across human space, things were very different. Human colonies were growing faster than ever before. Human shipyards were building more vessels. Human scientists were making new discoveries. Without the need to share everything with ungrateful aliens, humans could focus on helping themselves. The results were amazing. New Sol colony was supposed to take 5 years to build. Now it would be finished in 3 years. Human mining operations were more efficient. Human trade between human worlds was more profitable. Human research was advancing faster. For the first time in generations, human technology was being used only to help humans. The difference was remarkable. Meanwhile, the alien messages kept coming. They offered everything they could think of. The Vorthans offered rare metals, the Aquarians offered trade routes, the Athetians offered ancient artifacts. Nothing worked. The humans would not answer. Some aliens tried to visit human space directly. They found human patrol ships waiting at every border. The patrol ships were polite but firm. No alien vessels were allowed in human territory. No exceptions. The Galaxy Council tried to send official delegations. Human border guards turned them away. The Council President herself tried to visit Earth. She was told that Earth was closed. To all Galaxy Council members, we just want to talk. The Council President sent in a message. We can work this out. The reply was short. Humans tried to talk for 3 years. You were not interested in listening. Then you tried to put us in a cage. Now you want to talk when you need our help to lay. By the end of the 6th month, the first alien government fell. The Vesian Republic collapsed when half their worlds were abandoned due to the spreading plague. Without human medical help, millions died. The survivors blamed their government. The snake-like Thesian ambassador who had insulted humans was driven from office in shame. The Vorthan mining consortium went bankrupt. 17 mining worlds became ghost towns when the atmospheric machines failed completely. The blue crystal beings who had called humans warmongers were now fighting each other over the few remaining safe places to live. The Aquarian trade empire lost 60% of their ships in hyperspace accidents. Without human navigation systems, their ships were getting lost, destroyed, or trapped between dimensions. The proud water beings who had mocked human intelligence were now begging other species for help with basic navigation. In the Galaxy Council chamber, the same chamber where humans had been insulted and dismissed, the remaining delegates sat in growing panic. More empty seats appeared every day as species withdrew from the council to deal with their own crisis. The council president looked around at the half-empty room and finally understood what they had done. They had not just insulted humans, they had driven away the species that held galactic civilization together. The humans were not primitive warmongers, they were the engineers, doctors, navigators, and teachers that made everything else possible. For the first time in her long life, the council president was afraid. The galaxy was falling apart and the only people who could fix it were the ones they had treated as enemies. Humans were gone, and they were not coming back. Ambassador Hyenwoo walked slowly into the giant meeting room of the Galaxy Council. His black uniform was clean and pressed, but his tired eyes showed the pain of 3 long years. He had been coming to this same room every day for 3 years, trying to make peace between humans and the other alien races in the galaxy. The room was huge with a high ceiling that seemed to touch the stars. Above him, hundreds of different alien creatures sat in their special chairs. Some had tentacles instead of arms, some had scales instead of skins, some were so tall they had to bend down to fit in their seats. Others were so small they needed special platforms to be sign captain. So Young walked beside him. She was younger than Hyenwoo, but just as tired. She carried a thick folder full of papers and documents that showed all the times the aliens had been mean to humans, all the times they had stolen human ideas, all the times they had said no to human requests for help. The Vorthan delegate stood up first. He was a massive creature that looked like he was made of blue glass. His forearms moved as he talked, and his voice sounded like someone breaking dishes. You humans think you are so smart, he said in a loud voice, but you are nothing but fighters and troublemakers. You bring war wherever you go. You fight on your own planet. You fight with each other. Why should we trust you with anything important? Other aliens in the room started making noise. Some hissed, some clicked their claws. Some made sounds that hurt human ears, but they all agreed with the Vorthan. The humans were bad. The humans were dangerous. The humans should not be trusted. The snake-like Dacian ambassador rose from her coiled position. Her long body moved like water as she spoke. Her voice was soft, but everyone could hear the poison in her words. Maybe it is time for the Galaxy council to think about removing humans from our group, she said. Maybe humans do not belong with civilized species. Maybe they should go back to their small corner of space and stay there. High-end Wu had heard words like this before many times, but today felt different. Today the aliens seemed more angry, more sure that humans were evil. Captain Soyoung looked at him with worried eyes. She had been keeping track of every insult, every lie, every broken promise for 3 years. We came here to help, High-end Wu said. His voice was quiet, but it carried across the big room. We brought our technology to share. We brought our knowledge to help make the galaxy better. We asked only to be treated fairly. We asked only for respect. The Vorthan delegate laughed. It was an ugly sound like glass breaking in the wind. Respect, he said. You want respect, you who make war on your own world, you who cannot even make peace with your own kind. How can you make peace with Usara in the room? Other aliens laughed too. The Mallory delegates waved their feathered wings. The Aquarian representatives splashed in their water tanks. The Galaxian warriors banged their weapons on the floor. All of them thought it was funny that humans wanted respect. For 3 years, Hyeon-woo had sat in this room and listened to these insults. For 3 years he had tried to explain that humans were not evil warmongers. He had shown them human art, human music, human poetry. He had told them about human families, human love, human dreams, but the aliens did not want to listen. They had already decided that humans were bad. They had already decided that humans were not worthy of being in the Galaxy Council. They took human inventions and said other aliens had made them. They used human medical knowledge to heal their sick, but gave humans no credit. They copied human weapons to protect themselves, but called humans violent. Captain Soyoung leaned close to Hyeon-woo. Sir, she whispered. The council president is asking for our answer to their new rules. The new rules were terrible. Humans would only be allowed to keep 12 star systems. Humans could not explore beyond those systems. Humans could not build new colonies. Humans could not trade freely with other species. It was like putting humans in a cage. Wu looked around the room at all the alien faces. Most looked at him with hate or disgust. A few looked bored, like they were wasting their time talking to stupid humans. None looked at him with friendship or respect. Captain Soyoung, he said quietly, send a message to Earth. Tell them to start Protocol 7. Soyoung's eyes went wide. Protocol 7 was the emergency plan that would end all human cooperation with the Galaxy Council. It would bring back all human ambassadors. It would stop all human trade. It would end all human help to alien worlds. It was the last resort when all other options had failed. Sir, are you sure? She asked. Do you really want to do this? I'm completely sure, Hyeon-woo said. He stood up straighter and looked directly at the Vorthan delegate, who was still laughing at him. Honor delegates, he said in a strong voice. Thank you for making our decision easy. We are leaving these talks right now. More than that, we are ending all human cooperation with the Galaxy Council, and everyone in it. The room became quiet very fast. The aliens stopped laughing and started looking confused. The Vorthan delegate stopped moving his forearms. The Veshan ambassador stopped swaying. What did you say? The council president asked. She was an Aquarian who lived in water. Her voice bubbled as she spoke. We are done, Hyeon-woo said. We withdraw from these peace talks. We withdraw all human help from the Galaxy Council. We withdraw all human friendship from species who have shown us only hate. But you cannot do this. The Mallory delegate squawked with his bird-like voice. You signed agreements. You made promises. You cannot just leave. Actually, we can. Hyeon-woo said calmly. We tried for 3 years to work with you. We offered our best technology, our best knowledge, our best friendship. In return, you called us names, stole our ideas, and treated us like enemies. The Vorthan delegate laughed again, but this time it sounded nervous. Empty threats, he said. What will you do? Cry in your little corner of space like Bubba? Hyeon-woo smiled for the first time in months. Something like that, he said. We will take care of our own people now. We will use our technology for ourselves. We will keep our knowledge to ourselves. We will give our friendship only to those who deserve it. Captain Soyoung was already sending the emergency message to Earth. Within hours, every human ambassador would pack their bags. Every human trader would stop doing business. Every human doctor would stop helping alien patients. Every human engineer would stop fixing alien machines. The aliens in the room started to understand what was happening. They started talking to each other in worried voices. Some stood up and tried to speak, but Hyeon-woo was already walking toward the doorway. The council president called out, perhaps we can discuss this. Perhaps we would. Hyeon-woo stopped at the door and looked back at the hundreds of alien faces that now looked worried instead of angry. For 3 years we tried to discuss things, he said. For 3 years you would not listen. Now it is too late to talk here. Walked out of the Galaxy Council chamber for the last time. Captain Soyoung followed him, carrying her folder of documented insults and broken promises. Behind them, the aliens sat in confused silence, finally beginning to understand that they had made a terrible mistake. The humans were leaving, and soon the galaxy would learn just how much they had depended on the species they had called primitive warmongers.